I don't know how and why would we end up being friends at the first place. Man, who would have thought that we would end up being good friends? We were just some random people who met in Facebook. We were that kind of people who would hate on each other for no good reason. But we appreciate each other as much as we hate each other. So we were just going even. The problem was on its way, and the things start getting worse as she gets more and more unpredictable. The more I get to know her, and she would always come up with some of her witty jokes, which does not make any sense, but they aren't really bad. They're good enough to ruin your day. So far, she dragged me along with her, and we met a lot of people. And where I met this one person who was exactly the same as the first person, but she was kinda, I don't know, insane? And I would be lying if I don't say that she was the most amazing person, and that is after the first person for sure. And she has some qualities of her own. She could give nicknames that really suck and enough to ruin your day, but yet people would appreciate it. Mostly the first person would appreciate it, which doesn't really count. Okay, well, these two guys were not enough, so this one, at the first glance, yeah, it was cool. She was the nicest one. I mean, nah, she was just same as those two girls. And later, we created a community, or you can call it group, yeah, and named it after some shit. Yeah, anyways, the group had only 4 people. That was obviously me and those 3. Well, they were actually trying to overpower me, but I've got backup.
Mighty Action X!
Agito DDDK ファイナルアタックライド
And yeah, we were defeated. But is it really true? Is it not human nature that we get more wiser from a defeat than an actual victory? So my point is that we all should stop making excuses. So there was this one day, the 3 of us went on an excursion, but to our surprise, there was not even a single soul present that day. So we took this opportunity, we delivered them a clip where we sincerely, politely, respectfully humiliate them. The next week, they went to the same place and mocked the hell out of us. They did us wrong twice as much as we did to them. And after being humiliated for like several times, we all held an assembly where we decided what to do with them. We all planned to leave the group. Hear me out, it was just an act. But you know how things never go according to the plan. Apparently our plan to win them over was like throwing a bucket of water on a volcano. It did absolutely nothing, and now we are just left standing here, looking all ridiculous again. However, our plan just did not fail. It also backfired us. We realized that the most corniest and the vibrant guy of the group has suddenly gotten soft. Now he calls himself shy. And what I figured out was that he fell in love with the first person right from head to toe, and so I began to avoid the first person. To kick things off, let's talk a little bit about us. About this guy, we call him Harry Potter, and he was already committed to someone. Now this guy is flirtatious. He could talk with any girl he likes. But when we asked him to talk with the first person, he would go, "I'm shy." Well, of course you are. Well, another thing is about me. I would say I'm uncertain about myself because most of the time I'm satisfied with everything. And wait a sec. So now I was talking with the second person and we were kind of blending in pretty much. And this guy comes out of nowhere and challenges me for a bet. And that was to get her number. So the catch was that if I get the number, treats on me. And if I don't get the number, treats on him. So it was kind of win-win situation. So I gave a shot. I don't know. Maybe the lady's luck was on my side because she just gave it to me. Yeah. and we never called each other. But it was kind of different in the case of the first person. We call each other quite often, though we don't like each other that much. I don't know how, but we kind of had a good bonding with each other. Since my boy has laid his eyes on that person, which was not wise, he hasn't been able to think about anything else. Well, even I was enjoying the company of the second person. We were having lots of conversations. So I was just testing if she really thinks that I'm her good friend or she was just being kind. So I asked a few pictures of her and there she goes. Still, I was not concerned, but I was flattered that moment. I guess I'm no good than other humans. I'm just a human after all. Well, everything was going good. 3 of us had fun battling another trio, which ended peacefully. We also discovered a surprising twist that the first person now has a new boyfriend. And it did not bother my boy even a slightest, because now he has a new crush. Finally, the guy is acting like himself again. What's that? Oh, it's her. Something. No, hell no. And if I'm being honest right now, even I myself, I don't know what is going on with me. But that wasn't all she had to offer. She had more hidden talents and she showed me one of them. And I never knew she could dance. Well, that was good for me because I was having good time. Everything was going well until it wasn't. Things never work out the way you expect. There was one guy who wanted to pick a fight with me. And yeah, while the second person was part of the problem, there was a hidden and deeper reason behind his aggression. This guy was trying to hit on her, but it was not very effective. At the end of the day, she would always tell me about the guy's feeble attempts to pull her into his spell, which was again not very effective against the second person. Well, we didn't actually end up fighting, but really got into a serious conflict. Well, there are some things that only the group member knows about it, and somehow that one random person knows about it, and he blames me for selling the information to him. Guy who never existed to me until now is falsely framing me. Now the second person is kinda disappointed on me. She thinks I'm the one who snitched on her. It was not her fault. I mean, everyone would believe a random stranger over a friend. Everyone does that, right? And it did not trigger my anger in any ways. But that guy, he welcomes no one but disaster. I tried to confront the guy peacefully, but he responded with violence. I was cool with it, but man, the way he said, "Back off from my girl," totally got to me. He wasn't even a threat, but the dude's confidence was insane. He started threatening to beat me to a pulp if he ever ran into me again. I just shot back with, "Try me if you have the guts." Well, Harry Potter knew that guy pretty well, so I got the address of the other guy from him. But on the very same day, the guy was nowhere to be found. Even on the next day, the guy was nowhere to be found again. I don't really wanna fight. I just wanna know what's he gonna really do when he really sees me. At this point, we will never know. I have no idea what happened to that guy. He just went from being super aggressive to total chill. I don't know what happened to that. He gave a surprisingly logical and a valid reason to back down. I could never argue with it. We could have become good friends, but he blocked me. The real culprit behind all of this unnecessary event was never revealed. Well, everything went back to normal. Well, this time she was kind of more expressive than ever. And then there was this one day, which kind of felt like eternal nightmare. While everything was going great, and one day she disappears without a single word, which kind of made me worry about her, because she informs me before disappearing. She disappears like for a couple of weeks or say months. She didn't even reply the text I sent her last night, so it made me worry, and I jumped to the first person. First, it was just a casual talk. Well, as soon as it was over, I jumped right into the business. I don't want it to be too obvious, but for some reason I was being too obvious. And there she goes. She gets a chance to pull my leg again. Honestly, she never fails to get into my nerves. And finally, she started talking. Well, I don't really remember which of the following date it was. But I do know one thing. They were dancing on the date. But I don't care if they were actually good, even though I was not present there. But they could not have won that competition. That's just BS. Well, I believe that the judges might have made some error in their judgment, which was not satisfying at all. She told me that they had a hectic day. The second person might be laying on her bed. Well, she was right. The second person replied the moment she woke up, realizing that I was worrying for no good reason. So I tried playing cool, like I was never worried about her. Well, I wasn't even worried about her. Maybe I was. So it was the year 2020 and we had another lockdown. I was really counting on our exams to get cancelled, but we had no such luck. Everyone else's board exams were getting cancelled, but our board management had some strange idea of conducting ours. We were left with no alternative. We were facing how other students being cool and unbothered while we were attending classes during lockdown. My days during lockdown wasn't so bad. In fact, it was better because I had these people. They added life to my boring days at home. And of course, these guys. How can I forget this one? Something was constantly on my mind. A single question that needed an answer. It was simple, yet everything. Well, something inside me already knew that it was not possible. Well, I happened to drop that idea and started something new. That was drawing. Most of what I drew was her, of course. None of them came out looking good. That was on purpose. Yeah, we all can agree to this, that happiness lasts up to a certain point. After that, everything changes. Everything just falls apart. The dark days had begun. We spoke less and less. It got to that point where she would ignore my messages for days at a time. And there's nothing I can do in this situation. While I'm with my boys, it made me less think about her. She must be dying thinking about me. And like always, the only thing she could think about is a good sleep. For about a couple of weeks, we didn't share a single word to each other. And one day,